You're welcome, great friends. And this moment, I just want to ask you a few questions, and then we look at few issues concerning the personhood of the leader. Uh, by the way, who is your role model in leadership? Who is your leadership role model? I know most of you have people you look up to and say, "This is my leader, this is my role model." We've had in history a whole lot of great leaders, actually. Of course, the rise of empires came because there were great leaders in history. And there are so many of them. There's a lot of them. And Martin Luther, Abraham Lincoln, Idi Amin, a whole lot. Whether they are doing good or whatever their reputation, they were leaders in their own rights during their seasons in time. But you, let me ask you, who is your role model? Because if you understand what leadership is all about, you'll be able to look out for a role model that fits into that definition for you. Because you can't just pick up role model. There are a lot of social constructs concerning leadership. For instance, some people look at leadership as an art or science of galvanizing others to towards a common good. Well, that's part of it, but that's exactly not it. And there are also people who define it as influence, nothing more, nothing less. In fact, one of the great leaders of our time described leadership as being influence, nothing more, nothing less. All right, but that's great, that's good too. But that's not exactly what it is, because even most leaders, most scholars regarding leadership have looked at it and said, well, it falls short of certain levels. Because when you say it's influence, you did not exactly signify what kind of influence should that be. Is it positive influence or negative influence? You have a lot of criminals who have influence on others among their team, among their foes, and they also leaders. So it doesn't have to be just influence. There has to be a purpose. There has to be a focus. All right, that really defined leadership, and that's why I have chosen Jesus as my role model for leadership. You have the right to choose yours, but I have chosen it, and I would also advocate that you also choose it and walk along this same journey with me, so we can go together. All right. So we look at leadership as coming from the essential being of the person. The personhood of the leader, or the leader and his personhood, is on the grounds that leadership smacks from your essential being. Who am I? Who am I? That's the key thing. And he, being a great leader, said, I am asserting an authenticity of self and of identity. I am. So you must be able to ask yourself, who am I? So you can discover who you are and assert the authenticity of your identity. From there, you undertake your leadership function out of who you are. Because a leader's function, or the leading function, arises from who the leader is. So it's important you make up your mind and choose a role model that works out, that galvanizes every other thing for you to make sure that you become the great leader you ought to be. And so you look at that also. So a leader's personhood is on the grounds that he leads out of who he is. That's one. And again, he is relational. Most of these other leaders in history and times undertake their leading function by coercion. They get followers by coercion, by force. A lot of them won wars. You remember history? Many of even some religious leaders, even people who projected religion, they fought a lot of wars, and they won several wars, and they gained followership of nations, of communities, of people. But that's not exactly in this light. So many of them got followership by coercion, not by relationship. But Jesus himself said, for instance, when he saw Peter, he said, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. All right, so follow me. He wasn't by coercion. He was moving, passing along, and he just saw him. doing his business. He simply told him, follow me. And the man looked at him and decided to follow. All right, so it has to be by persuasion, it has to be by conviction, and it has to be relational. There's no coercion about it. It has to be voluntary. All right, so it does somebody wouldn't have to exert leadership influence over you because of position, but it has to be relational. Even if you have a position that is higher than someone else, you still have to be persuasive, and not by coercion, not by force, not because you are on top, not because you are the orga there, and then you think that every other person must follow whatever you say. But it doesn't have to be that way. It has to be relational. All right, so you have to let that and grow in your leadership journey, that this leadership, the person of the leader, the style of his leadership has to be relational. And it also has to be that of a servant. That of a servant. A lot of these great leaders in history, they lord things over people. Look at it. So they lord things over people. And even Jesus said it at one point. He said, you know that these leaders in history and time, these leaders of this world, they lord things over you. But for you, who is my follower, it will not be so for you. So if you want to be a leader with me, or want serving with me, you would have to be the servant. And so that's one difference. So he contradicted those people. He brought a new ideology of leadership. He looks at it from the aspect of service. It has to be service. If you have not generated the mindset of service, then you can't be a great leader. A lot of people have not generated the mindset of service, and yet they want to be on top. They want to be great leaders because they have a concept that, well, if I'm a leader, I should be served. If I'm a leader, I should be served. Every other person should bow to me. And that's their understanding, because they think that, well, if I'm a leader, I should be the big boss there. But Jesus did not say, he didn't teach us that way. All right, so he said, if you will be a leader with me, you will have to be a servant. You will have to be his servant. He wasn't talking about religion. So whatever your religious organization or group or your religion makes out of it, that's a business. But you need to understand that that's service, his own kind of leadership. It's service. All right? It's service. He's saying you would have to be the servant to others. You would have to be their minister. You would have to be the one helping them to prefer a solution, serving them. That's what it means to serve. All right? So that's important we understand all that. And also he looks at it from the angle of sacrificial, because he was also sacrificial. All right, he was very sacrificial. There are, most of these leaders we call great leaders in our world today, political leaders in history and in time in our nation, they want to eat first before you will eat. They want to ride the best horses, take the best flights, have the best private jets before you will even eat. All right, but those are not leaders in the idea Jesus taught us or teaches us. Those are not leaders. All right, they may be occupying positions, coercing people, lording it over to people, but they are in essence not leaders, because their way of life shows their laxities and the things that they are derived of. All right, so but here it has to be sacrificial. It means those they will have to eat before you do. You look at it. So when people see that they are eating before you eat, all right, you are out there to sacrifice for them. You are making things for them. They will naturally, voluntarily, persuasively, willingly, on their own follow you, because living things tend towards the direction of the energies they receive. It's just natural. They will on their own believe in you, follow you, because they've seen that you are sacrificial for them. You are not being you're not taking advantage of them. You are not leaving them for all the losses, or blaming them for the losses and the things you didn't do well. And so they will on their own follow you, because they've seen that you are sacrificial, even within their conscience and even within their observations, and even at all levels they just see that, oh, So that's it. And you are not doing it to prove anything, because a leader is not doing also to prove. Let me show you that I'm sacrificial. You are not proving anything. All right. So that's what, because you're not proving anything, it will be long lasting. It will be long lasting, but it will be sustainable. But when you're trying to prove something, it will be long lasting. At the point you'll be tired. You say, "Oh, all these things I've been doing for you, you don't even get it. You're not even, you'll be disenchanted because it's not coming from within." But as soon as it's coming from within, because transformation has happened from within, these things wouldn't be anything, because you know that that's how you are. That's who you are. You have become the leader who has the capacity, who has been enabled to be sacrificial from within. All right. So because so you lead out of who you are. If you are ordinarily not sacrificial, it will be difficult. And if you haven't also been sacrificial, you can learn it, you can hone it, you can grow into it. All right. So that's what it is. And also, this leader will also be have a long view approach, because it's not just what we do now. It's not just what we do now. All right. He has a long view approach. That's always a feature in mind. If you are leading people into the future as a leader, the leading function leads people into the future, from now to the future. And so you will have to show them the future. People want to see the future, either by observation, by intuition, but they would have to see the future. All right. So you have to show them. You have to have a long view. And Jesus showed his followers the future. He showed us the future. All right. So because there's a future that is now, there was past, but there is a future coming up. That is a new thing coming up. That is a new hope. That is an expectation. That is a goal set. That is something to look up to. That is a better tomorrow. That is a better new organization. You know these things. So you have to show them the future, and you have to walk, because there is a long view. But if everything you are doing is just because of today, just now, you'll be tired. You'll be tired. You would have no reason at certain moments to continue, because there's no future in it. Nobody wants to invest time or energy in anything that has no future. And so you look at it because there is a future. There is a future. So this great leader will have to have a long view and show others the long view. So first, let me repeat, being a great leader, the personhood and the style of a leader would have to mean that he leads out of who he is, from his essential being. That's one. And also, he would have to be relational, no coercion, right? He doesn't force people. He doesn't force people. He's relational. He relates to people, and people align. People naturally follow. That's relational. And he is also a servant leader. He doesn't coerce. He serves. He doesn't see himself as one to be served. Like Jesus said, "I am among you as one who serves." He's not among us as one who should be worshipped. Even when he was on earth, he wasn't here as one who should be worshipped, but he was here as one who serves, and he served. And so the leader would have to serve. He would have to serve. But if you think that leadership is about being at the echelon of a position where others serve you, you miss it. You miss it. Totally miss it. Outrightly miss it. So you have to adjust a mindset that can serve others and serve their needs. And you have to be sacrificial. All right. So sacrificial means, in a simple term, you let go certain rights so that people can have their way through, because of the future of the group or the organization, the leading project, because of the future of your leadership journey. You know, that's important. You would have to let go of certain rights, let go of certain privileges, and let others be. You don't have to always claim or assert a revenge on others, assert a penance or revenge or whatever thing, a retributive action to others because of one thing or the other. You wouldn't be a great leader that way. So you have to be sacrificial. Sometimes let your right goal, but because there is a future. All right, so that's sacrificial, then long view. Because there is a long view, everything will be better. Because there is a long view, we'd have to work together to meet up that long view. Because there is a long view, so you have to understand that because there is a long view, we have to work together. We have to invest time. It is worth the energy. It is worth the sacrifice. It is worth the service. It is what the transformation, the trainings we are all passing through is worth it because there is a long view. All right, so you need to understand that so much. So in a nutshell, so the personhood of a leader, understand, it's very, very critical. Choose who your model is wisely, and I call you to choose Jesus like I've chosen him. And you need to understand also that whoever you've chosen, you tend towards him. You tend towards him. Understand? So that's very, very critical. Thank you so much. Let me stop there for this moment. And I'm sure that I would like to take your comments. I would like to take your feedbacks, and I'd want you to probably like, share, and also let me know what you think about this. Thank you so much. Till then, meet you next time.